Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 28 of Jack and Being Frank. I'm your host, Jack Monos, with my co-host, Frank Arenio, and we'll discuss and preview Knicks vs. Celtics that begins tonight at 7 p.m., and we'll discuss quickly about all the series of the first round and how they all completed. We'll even give, some thoughts on series that ended in 5, because I don't think we got to them that actually officially completed. And we'll discuss. We'll get into some round 2 predictions other than just the Knicks and Celtics. There's other games going on, of course, and we'll get to them a little bit. And these games are going to be really good, so we'll get into it now. I want to start off with the. Let's get on. Did we officially get to the end of this Lakers series? I don't think we talked about that. How they lost.
We didn't go in depth. We talked a little bit about the
Yeah, I
series.
said they were gonna lose in 5. Um, they didn't have a big man at all. They're too small. Gobert put up 24 and 20 or 27 and 24 on them in Game 5 to close them out. JJ Redick had no answer because he had no big man. But he also didn't put out Jackson Hayes. But if Jackson Hayes is your guy to go out there and he's your saving grace, at the end of the day, you might as well just pack it up for next season because he's not going to save you. They just didn't have any center on the roster. This team was really. This team wasn't. This is the first year a team hasn't been built for Luka, and this is a real different team and a real different situation Luka's in now because he's always been a guy that the team has looked to build around. This is a team that just got him at the trade deadline as a trade deadline acquisition. A great one in that, but he's straight up just a trade deadline acquisition. There's no pieces built around him. You couldn't a player like Luka Doncic, you have to build a team around him. He's that good. You have to build some defenders around and get some shooters. But they poured him into this Lakers team, and it didn't really go well. No defense, no rebounding. Biggest story. Gobert. He's never been a guy to have 27 points. Gobert's a great rebounder, but 24 rebounds. And Randall also had a great series. So I feel like the interior presence of the Wolves, and we'll talk about them later, going against the Warriors, that will mean a lot as we foreshadow towards that series. That'll mean a lot for going forward, how big they are in the paint, how talented they are with their depth.
So the Lakers, what a disaster. That was an absolute. Just yeah, I just they came up so short. What a massive disappointment. And they trade for Luka. There are people talking about them challenging the Thunder in the West and maybe getting to the NBA Finals or at least the conference finals and giving the Thunder a run. And they didn't even come close to get bounced in the first round in 5 games. Just a massive disappointment. I think you could say a massive fail. That's what it was. And what's his name? JJ Redick. His coaching, and he went with a small lineup, right, and just stuck
He
with.
had no. I think correct. Not a credit to him, but like to kind of excuse him, his best center was Jackson Hayes. He wasn't given like a premium center. Maybe you're like, oh, he should have put out, for example, Nas Reader. So they don't have a bench center like that. So they had Jackson Hayes. So they went with the offense, and they barely could score. So they wanted the offense out there, and they kind of got dominant inside. And I think Gobert and his presence inside, and just the way this Timberwolves team defended was really hard for them because it kind of contradicted how good the Lakers offense is, and it kind of put a big emphasis on how well the Lakers are going to defend, and they couldn't really hold up defensively enough because they only put up 96 points on offense. So if you're only going to put up 96 points on offense, especially if Luka and LeBron, the defense on the other end is not going to be as well. You can't really bank on to win a game when you only score 96 points and you have Luka, LeBron, and Austin Reeves.
And then LeBron, how much is he responsible for this?
He looked. I don't know if this is a popular take, but he looked tired. It looked like he was settling for more jumpers. He wasn't getting inside. I guess the Timberwolves defense is big time inside. But again, he didn't even challenge them, and he looked like he was settling for jumpers, and it looked like he was tired, and it looked like the Wolves ran him out. It looked like they were going at Luka Doncic the most they can, and Luka couldn't guard a parked car. I mean, it was awful to watch how the Timberwolves just kept going at Luka. And you know how much of an offensive talent he is. It's just, I mean, it kind of gives the Mavs, if we talk about some validation. But I don't think that they stink too. But, it kind of gives you another angle to it, another perspective of like, this guy is terrible at defense. But I mean, you look at him, he's going to give you 40 on a day, 40, 20, and whatever. That's a stat line there. Usually, I mean, he's as good of a player. But then it's like he gives you that defensive effort. So then you're kind of looking at the perspective of the Mavericks a little bit more. And you're like, maybe it's a right move for them. I don't know. But it kind of flips the perspective of that. It makes him look at the perspective of a little bit more of what Nico Harrison was saying. Not saying he's out of the woods. I think it's still, talent for talent, a bad move. But it kind of flips the perspective because of how bad Luka played in that defensively. Luka played in that series, and not just like he couldn't hang and he was trying. There's no effort. He looked outmatched by even guys like Mike Conley. So he was a liability defensively. It wasn't like he just was like a bad. He was just a liability. He couldn't play defensively, but offensively, I mean, it's Luka, but it kind of flips the perspective. I don't know if you want to chime in on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see this play out more to really grade the trade. I get the notion that, it's, talent for talent. It's not a good trade for the Mavericks. And, Luka was such a big star there in Dallas, and he was shocked by the trade and really struggled with it. And you could say, well, he's much better off in Dallas, and Dallas much better off keeping him, and this trade didn't make sense to him. I get that, but in terms of the Lakers and what it means for them, I mean, this clearly didn't work. And how does it get better? Like, how is this going to get better for the Lakers going forward? You have Luka, you have LeBron. Is LeBron going to be back? What does his future hold? Yeah. He's 40 years old. I mean, the guy's still playing at a really high level. But, I mean, how does this work for the Lakers going forward? I mean, again, it was a massive disappointment, and I think it's appropriate to say it was a fail. They lost in 5 games in the first round. So I don't see how this gets better for the Lakers. I don't see how this works for the Lakers where they win, with LeBron and Luka together and this team that they have. I know, the offseason, they'll look to improve the roster around those two guys. But just with those two guys as your core, it doesn't seem like this is going to work. No, it doesn't, because I also would give it – I don't think grace, but, like, that's not the – because they could go in this offseason and build an actual team around Luka, which the Mavericks did very well. I mean, he made the NBA Finals. That'd be something the Lakers fans would be up in arms if they made the NBA Finals at this point. If they made anything to the conference finals. So the Mavs were able to build around a team of good role players, two lob threats. Lakers didn't have that at all. Not saying, not giving the notion of not giving an excuse for Luka, but look at what the Mavericks did. I feel like the Lakers kind of, team was a lot of helter-skelter. They didn't really have a big time fit. It felt like it was forced. So I think getting in the offseason, even if LeBron does leave, say that, whatever, you just build the team around Luka. And you give him his offensive guys that will help him succeed and get them to the next level. Because the Mavericks have shown, you can make the finals with Luka Doncic. So it's not like there's a ceiling with him as a player. Yeah, you're right. They have shown that you can make the finals with him, but this pairing of him and LeBron with this roster, it just clearly fell way short. And I don't see how this improves. I don't see how this works. And, it calls into question the Lakers and what they've done. the whole LeBron era, I know they won a championship, but it was that bubble championship. Like, how much do you really credit them for that? I mean, to me, it was kind of a joke. It was like Major League Baseball with the playoffs that year, the Dodgers. Like, at first I was like, oh, yeah, the Dodgers won a legit championship. Then I'm like, like, really? It wasn't what it normally is. So, okay, yeah, the Lakers won a championship, but they didn't really win a championship. And then LeBron's been there 7 years. You want to, like, take that year out, and then the other 6 years, they've advanced past the first round one time. They missed the playoffs his first year. So then take that one out of there. The other 5 years where they made the playoffs outside of the bubble year, they got to the conference finals the one year a couple of years ago, and they got swept. And then every other year they've been out in the first round. They're 2-12 in their last 14 playoff games. So counting that conference final in 2023, and then the last 2 years losing in the first round. So, the LeBron era with the Lakers, like, it hasn't been a success. I just, you want to get into, I know it's kind of, it's not kind of, it's shifting gears here, a different aspect of this, but I think LeBron and his legacy is very interesting and very important when it comes to the NBA and the NBA currently in NBA history. And I think I look at this as a blemish on his legacy, on his career resume. I mean, his tenure in Los Angeles, the Lakers, has been a disappointment.
Just coaches coming in and out. And then, I do think, honestly, I know you've been a JJ Redick criticist, but I do think that he's a better coach than Darvin Ham. And we can say that. I think I can say that with pretty much firmly. But they won the same amount of games.
Because it always has to be a coach that LeBron can control and LeBron can quasi be in charge. Like in Miami, credit to Miami, like, LeBron's had a problem with every coach he's had, basically. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like there's always LeBron always has a falling out with the coach. He handpicks a coach, or it seems like he handpicks a coach. It's a guy that, he could control, he can manipulate, and then he doesn't like the coach because the coach isn't good enough. But the coach wasn't a good enough coach to begin with because he wants someone that he could control, that he can at least have a lot of say and a lot of influence. If you're going to have a really good coach, a great coach, that's going to be a coach where no player, is going to, be empowered. It's going to be, this guy's the coach. And that's the way it is. And every player has to play for that coach. But LeBron always wants to have a guy that, will empower him, and he could be in control of the situation. But in Miami with Spoelstra, they stuck with Spoelstra. They didn't say, hey, Spoelstra, we're getting rid of you. And Spoelstra's still the coach of Miami. And he's been a great NBA coach. I give Miami credit for that. And Miami's gone on and continued to be successful. They haven't won a championship since LeBron left, but they've been in the finals, I think, twice, and have still been a very good franchise. So LeBron, I criticize him a lot. I acknowledge his greatness, and he's one of the great players of all time. He's not the greatest of all time. I think that's ridiculous. But I think his tenure with the Lakers has been a disappointment. And, you want to say, okay, he won a championship, but it hasn't been enough. I mean, he's an all-time great. You're going to the Lakers with all their history. He should at least been in the finals another time and really should have won multiple championships with the Lakers. And they haven't even been close to that. So I look at this thing as a mess, and I don't see how it gets better for the Lakers with this tandem of LeBron and Luka. And this, even if they bolster the roster, like, is it really going to be a situation where they get the championship level? I don't see it happening.
Yeah, so let's move gears to another all-time great. In Steph Curry and the Warriors, they get past the Rockets in 7 games. That's one of the games that that's one of the series that did go to 7. And it was...
The Rockets are such a fraud franchise. They do nothing. They lose. I know it's the 5th time they've lost to the Warriors in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they get bounced. They fall short all the time. It's so predictable. Like, who thought that the Rockets were going to beat the Warriors? It wasn't happening.
Yeah, it wasn't happening. And, these teams felt like... Well, the Warriors felt like... I mean, they lost the game 5. They threw that game away. which made me not root for them because you cannot throw games away in the playoffs. That's my big thing. If you're down by 20, even if you're up 3-1, you got to keep your players in, man. You got to try to win every single game you can. You can't throw in the towel if you're Steve Kerr. You can't do that. So they pin themselves against the wall. So then you're going to Game 6 in Golden State. Okay, we'll get it done there. They didn't get it done. Then you pin yourself against a wall again. You have to go to get it done on the road, but thankfully they did, and they get past the Rockets. But there's a lot of pinning themselves against a wall, but they did get it done. And the Rockets, they're a very good young team, but they definitely need pieces here to make a big move. I mean, make a big swing in that conference to get them up there as legit contenders. I mean, they're up there in the second seed, but they as legit contenders in the Western Conference. You need to be top of class, and also experience does help. But yeah, I mean, relying on Fred VanVleet to win you basketball games is not what's going to do it. I don't know if it's trading for, if it's crazy, but if a Giannis gets available, someone like that gets available. So if you make that move, they're in a very good place. I know you've talked about them as a bad franchise and whatever. They've lost the Warriors a lot, but I feel like that as a young team,
Well, they're not a bad franchise. They just always fall short.
yeah,
I mean, outside of the 2 championships they won in the 90s, which is a long time ago, I mean, they just constantly fall short, and I think it's very predictable.
Yeah. They need to make a move. They need to make a move soon to get them, because their team, they have some young stars in their team. I think Amen Thompson can be very good. He stuck with Curry the whole entire series. I mean, if that Thompson name is ringing any bells for anybody watching, he is the brother of Asar Thompson, who got absolutely lit up by Jalen Brunson, crossed over, put on his backside, and Jalen Brunson made the three to win. But he's his brother right here, and he's a very good player. He can defend the heck out of the ball, just like his twin, and he just needs some stuff in his game. But they have stars, as I was saying, the whole big thing. Put it down to one. They have pieces. They just have to put it together, and they need to trust the front office here because, man, Jalen Green, their leading scorer, played an awful playoff series and awful first year. He's just not it. So if a team will take him on, that would be nice for them. But they have a lot of pieces, a lot of young pieces, but they just need to make a move they need to make a big splash. But it's good to know that you do have some stars, some young up and coming stars, but they're going to have to get that ultra star to put them over the top, or even that superstar to put them over the top, because right now this offense looks ridiculously bad for them.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just another playoff disappointment for them, which again is not surprising. And the Warriors, they're still going. They're not as good as they were, but they're still in the mix, and they know how to win in the playoffs.
Okay, I think he's in the misconnection, so I should. Are you connected?
Yeah.
Okay, you froze for something.
Okay.
Some reason. Well, let's get. I mean, the Knicks Pistons. We'll talk about that. You want to talk about that a little bit right now? I think.
Yeah, and then segue into Knicks Celtics.
The Pistons, man. You talked about it. If they get to 6 games, they should feel good about themselves, and they did. And I thought I definitely had a feeling in the back of my mind. They were not saying completely, because I did have the Knicks in 4 at one point, but I think they are a very competitive team. And they, again, with the Rockets, I think it's kind of similar. They have stars. The Rockets have always been a disappointment. You said that, but I think both teams have stars to build around. But I think, and especially, I mean, they have Kay Cunningham, so I think that's different. It's kind of a different situation too, because they have that kind of star player that you think and kind of shows you flashes of a player that can lead you to the promised land. But You have Asar Thompson, another Thompson brother. Jalen Duren, who's looking to get a big time contract this offseason, who's been very well. But then you have your role players there. But I feel like, to make it over the top, you're going to have to get somebody to pair with Kate Cunningham as a real star on the perimeter, because it looked like a lot of plays where the Knicks forced the ball to Kate Cunningham's hands, and it was a lot of, either he turns the ball over to Kate Cunningham, or it goes to the second side, which is Malik Beasley, which Malik Beasley doesn't have the best handle in the world. So they just needed somebody on the perimeter who could put the ball on the floor and really create some opportunities and take some load off of Cade's hands, because right now he's having to do a lot of work. And that could be good, but at the end of the day, he's been turning the ball over a lot and been getting into some inefficient games. So if they can get somebody next to him that can take the pressure off of him and put the ball on the floor, with also trying to retain Malik Beasley, because he has some good moments and he competes defensively. And you also have some other guys. You have Tobias Harris locked up. So you have a good kind of core. But I think getting another ball handler next to Kate Cunningham would be something they want to look at. Trying to keep their defensive identity also would be something they would try to keep in consideration. So I know
Well,
it's
they were
big.
very competitive in the
Yeah.
series. I think they got to be happy with how competitive they were, but they also got to be disappointed. They lost 3 games at home, all 3 of their home games, razor thin margins. I mean, they could have forced a game 7. I think it would have been really difficult to win a game 7 at the Garden. But on one hand, yeah, for them, there's a lot of progress there this whole season. I mean, they made immense progress, and their future looks bright. But I think there's also disappointment for the Pistons, because they were right in the series, and if they get one of those home games, win one of those home games, which
They
again,
get
they were all razor
one more stop
thin.
on Jalen Brunson. They get one more stop on Jalen Brunson, then we're talking about a different series. But
Yeah, they were that close to going 7 with the Knicks. So yeah, they got to feel good about that. But at the same time, I think there's got to be disappointment there for Detroit as well. And then for the Knicks, like after this series now, okay, this series is over. How do you feel about the Knicks after the Pistons series compared to how you felt about them before? Like the same, better? Do you feel a little bit worse? I mean,
the
I thought they'd
same.
win in 5. I think a lot of people thought 5. You thought 4. It didn't seem like many
Same.
people thought it would go 6. So, I mean, how do you feel about the Knicks after the Pistons series and now going into the Celtics series?
I think the same. I'd feel better, and I think it was talked a lot on radio shows about Game 5 was the game to show me something, or show the Knicks fans something, that you were actually a team that, when you could take out a team like the Celtics did, like all the other teams did, when you put a team on the ropes, can you finish them? And can you get extra rest? And also, can you show that you're just more dominant than them and you will just demolish them? And
Game 5 was very disappointing for the Knicks. I mean, and it's
Thibodeau,
disappointing to lose 2 out of 3
yeah,
at home. Like they have to win
yeah,
the home games against the Celtics. So,
they're gonna,
I mean, credit to the Knicks for going 3-0 on the road. But, not to diminish winning at Detroit, but winning at Boston is going to be extremely
yeah.
difficult.
Well,
Much,
also
much
other
more difficult to
teams,
win
yeah,
at Detroit. So I think the Knicks have to win all their home games against the Celtics to have any chance against
have to, and
Boston. I
hopefully I
think
make
one
a
loss at home and they have no chance to beat the Celtics.
difference. Yeah, hopefully they do, and I will try to make a difference in Game 3. But they they are a team that I I expected them to win. I thought they had something, like they're going to prove something to the league, and that they would maybe win in 5 or 4. But winning in 6 is like, we get it. Jalen Brunson's ice cold. Everyone knows that. It didn't change. I mean, I knew that. It didn't change my feeling about the team. I know Jalen Brunson's one of the greatest scorers in the league, and that's all I know. And he's one of the best, probably one of the best clutch players I think I've seen in my lifetime. So I didn't really need to know anything else. I think that's about it. And I already knew that. So there's nothing changing about me and my evaluation now. It's just try to get it done against Boston.
So then how do they get it done against Boston? We've talked a lot about the Knicks and how they stack up against the Celtics all year. I mean, it's been a large focus of
Well,
our Knicks talk, which it should be, and then the
yeah.
Cavaliers as well. But It's now the Boston series, the second round. Um, what do the Knicks got to do to be competitive in the series? And then how would they pull off a major, major upset? I mean, this would be a major, major upset. Not impossible, but certainly a huge upset if the Knicks were able to defeat the Celtics in this series.
Well, the Knicks are gonna have to play their A game, and I know it's like kind of dumb analysis, but they're gonna have to play their A game, man. You can't come in, you can't have games. As you said, I think it was a great point. In Game 5, Jalen Brunson and Karl Towns had an awful game. I mean, let's put it as that. They had an awful game. They didn't play well at all, but Karl Towns would have to be consistent. Jalen Brunson, I know he's a consistent player, but through all the games that we play, he's going to be consistent. He can't have that one stinker because this team isn't built to have. This team isn't built for a player like Brunson to have a bad game. This team is not built for that. They're going to have to get it done and play their A game and going to have to get it done defensively. Let's put this in perspective. If they play this series like the Pistons Knicks series, I think the Knicks would like that. I'm not going to say I give them a chance. I like that for the Knicks. If they play a series, grit and grind, because I feel like the Knicks need to grit and grind this up because they are the least talented team. Less talented team from top to bottom. Maybe they have the best player in the series, but besides that, they are less talented. And you know what they have? They have OG Anunoby, who's a very good defender. So they turn this into a defensive game. I know the Celtics have Drew Holiday, but I do believe that he is. I don't want to say because if I say he lost it, he lost a step. He's probably gonna have like 5 steals against the Knicks tonight. But he's not what he used to be, which is a big time scorer. Not big time, 17-point per game scorer with amazing defense. He's more of a 10-point a game scorer with solid to good defense. To maybe a little bit of towards a great. But he's fell off a little bit. He's still very good, but they're gonna have to make this game defensively. And the Knicks have the talent defensively. Mikal Bridges can create steals. If they can get out in transition and get easy buckets, because this Celtics defense is also great. So if they turn this game into a defensive series, they're gonna have a good chance. Because I think they have a better chance than if this game turns into who can shoot better or who can.
Can the Knicks contain the Celtics from 3?
I mean, there's no. I mean, a fan of me would say yes, but there's no evidence that showed me no. Will Mitchell Robinson help? Because I know it's Mitchell Robinson. He's a backup center, whatever, but he's a guy that changes, especially with Karl Towns inside. He changes things with his ability to, guard the pick and roll, do all of that stuff, and guard the paint. It's a very good ability. I mean, a very good button that Tibbs can press is Mitchell Robinson to have. It's a very good available button for him to press because now you can have Mitchell Robinson in the middle of the paint where they're driving on Mitchell Robinson. So those buckets the Celtics got in the regular season could be, in the paint, of course. I think more and concerning was the paint scoring of Jason Tatum getting his head down in the paint. So with Mitchell Robinson there, they'll get more resistance inside. And that in the first game they did have Mitchell Robinson, the game went in overtime. I think my connection is really bad.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
So when the Knicks had Mitchell Robinson, they are a team that pushed the Celtics to their brink, to the overtime. And maybe the Celtics weren't really trying that hard in the last few games of the season. But it was a statement game for the Celtics, in my opinion, to go and sweep them, to absolutely sweep them, not even give them a shot, because they knew at the end of the day they would be the ones facing them in the second round, most likely. So they need to put that stamp on them that we're going to be 0-4 against you in the playoffs. A big mental challenge. I mean, big mental advantage if you're the Celtics. And now they had the big mental advantage because they were 0-4. Knicks were 0-4 against them. So it did feel like an actual game that both teams were trying in. So it kind of gives us some validation of that the Knicks can actually force this team and play competitive with them with Mitchell Robinson down low.
So how did the Knicks strategically defend the three? I mean, because Boston is a really good 3-point shooting team, but they kind of live and die by the three, right? I mean, if they're not hitting the 3-point shots, I mean that opens the door for the Knicks to win games.
It's
So
every single pig and pop with Porzingis and whoever the guard is. Switch it. I know it sounds bad. Okay, we're gonna have a mismatch in the paint, but or mismatch of Porzingis trying to shoot over, Brunson or something, or Brunson or McHale. But that is what's going to happen. You have to do that. You have to switch everything because then it doesn't open the pick and pop and the drop coverage. Just try to switch as much as possible. And also, switching would be good. I know I wanted to have a matchup where you'd run the double bigs with Cat and Mitchell Robinson, and you may have Cat and Jalen Brown. Why that might sound crazy, but it could be a good thing because that will make the Celtics try to attack Karl-Anthony Towns, and that is great for the Knicks because it might sound bad. Jalen Brown may score once or twice, but the reason why it's good is because it will take the Celtics out of their offense. When they try to go attack Karl-Anthony Towns, that takes them out of completely of their offense and trying to swing the ball around and get open opportunities. We're all looking at what is Jalen Brown going to do to Karl-Anthony Towns. Now, you got to trust Karl-Anthony Towns offensively, but that's just better defense than Knicks can play. It's just trying to just be like, hey, we're going to switch everything, play one-on-one, because that will take them out of offense. And the Celtics are kind of a shink of their armor is that they do play some one-on-one, especially Jason Tatum. And that could take them out of their offense. Because you know how that offense is quick clicking when the ball is moving, when they're getting good open looks. But when Tatum's trying to pound that basketball and taking his isolation looks, and sometimes Jalen Brown does it too, where they do some ISOs, that Knicks would live and die by that. They want that. Because that means that the ball will be popping around, the Knicks will be able to stay home on every single shooter, and we just trust that our defenders will play good defense.
So I guess you kind of answered it there, but is there anything that you consider a weakness of the Celtics that could be exploited? So would you say what you just said there
Well, I also do think
is a weakness, or is there anything else where you say that this could be taken advantage of by the Knicks or exploited?
Can I spitball this? I don't know if it's right. I'm just gonna throw at the wall. The 3-point shooting could be terrible one game. I don't know if that's like just putting it at the wall. I don't know. You said that kind of a little bit. One game, the 3-point shooting could be, you're watching a bunch of 5-10 Steph Currys on the court together, or you could have a game where they're shooting like Mitchell Robinson out there. It could be a game where, but usually Celtics are a team where they're shooting amazingly, but other games you can get lucky once or twice and they can be shooting bad. I don't know. It's just a shooting, the three, they rely on it. And if it's not hitting, then, they can still beat you. They have great defense, team defense, and they can also get to the paint. They have guys that can get to the paint. But I just think sometimes that's why I do think the Knicks won't get swept because they're due for one game where the shot isn't falling. And I think the Knicks are good enough to take advantage of that, enough to win the game. And that's why I have a feeling Knicks will at least take one. But I don't know if that will really be a big thing in the series of 1, 2, or 3 games. The Celtics aren't shooting well.
The only way the Knicks could win is if the shots aren't falling, or it's
a mix of both. You have to play great defense. You have to play at least good to great defense, but it's a mix of both. If you're going to make it miss a rotation once or twice, you kind of don't want them to burn you. So if they miss a few, you're like, okay, thank you. But I think that's what they're going to try to bank on is they miss some rotations maybe once or twice. They don't get drilled every single time they miss one. They miss a rotation. So if one guy goes to one guy and then everything else, they kind of don't want to get drilled every single time they do that. So, just hoping kind of, but you don't want to just hope the whole entire game. You don't want it because that's just terrible defense. You're gonna try to get as much closeouts as you can. They may hit some tough shots, but you're just hoping that when you miss rotations, maybe they bail you out once or twice. But I do think, yes, you're right with you're hoping for the missed shots, of course. But I think you also gonna have to play some good defense too, if you want to try to win. I think they can also make some tough shots as well.
Is there a concern? I mean, I should ask it this way: how concerned are you that the Celtics are just going to wear down the Knicks? So, Jack, how concerned are you about the Celtics' depth? Is it a major concern that they'll wear the Knicks out? So, how do you assess the depth of both teams, and how much of a factor will that be in the series? How much of a concern is that for the Knicks?
Well, huge. I think it's going to be a big thing about. I know it's a cliche of we got to play all 15 hands on deck, but for the Knicks, it definitely be a big thing. You're going to have to play Landry Shamet some minutes because this series, you need to match the 3-point shots one day of the Celtics, match their 3-point looks and match their shots. You want to throw in Landry Shamet to hit some threes? That'd probably be a good idea. Instead of trying to, shoot twos, beating twos for threes. Maybe you want to have threes if they get a few up and they make a few. You kind of want to make a substitution. You hit the 3-point shooter in. So I think it's going to be all hands on deck kind of thing for the Knicks. Yes, I do think a big person on the bench that's going to have to really show up is Deuce McBride. That's going to be one of the things. He's had a terrible series, basically a liability this whole entire playoffs. But this is a series for him, man. I do think that the Celtics are a better series for him because in the other series, Deuce McBride was a player that is a small guy. He's a small guy, but I do think that the Pistons are a team that's pretty big. They run a starting lineup. Their smallest guy is 6'5". So they're a pretty big team, and especially off the bench. They have some guys on the bench that are really big. So the Celtics are kind of a smaller team in that regard when it comes off the bench. So that could be something that he could really take advantage of. So I think it's a series that you have to get some big buckets, and Deuce McBride's gonna have to give you some big buckets. Even though he's had terrible stats this whole entire playoffs, I think you gotta watch that on the drain and you gotta stick with him because he can help you this series, and especially can soak up some minutes, especially for a guy like Jalen Brunson who's gonna do a lot of heavy lifting. And I just think also, everybody else is going to have to play a role. You might have to play pressure too a little bit to get some rebounds. If you need some, if Cat needs a break, just everything like that. DeLon Wright made to play with his experience. Of course, you can play Mitchell Robinson with his rebounding and his defense. Landry Shamet. If the Boston Celtics are going to hit threes, as I say earlier, it kind of makes sense to match that. I know Landry Shamet may not be the best defender, but if you want to play three, kind of spurt and let him just rain threes down, he could be a player that can really kind of match the 3-point shooting. I think that could be one way the Knicks can kind of, negate the 3-point shooting and try to match them themselves. But you want to play that game that much. You want to play the game that much because you'll lose that game. So you want to kind of keep that in balance.
So,
okay.
Can you hear me, Jack?
Yeah.
You can hear me? Okay, you were breaking up on my end.
Yeah.
So we've been having some technical difficulties today, but we'll work through them. So what's your blueprint? What's your vision if the Knicks are to win this series? How do you see it going? Like, how is this going to have to unfold for the Knicks to win? Is the only way they win in 7? If they're going to win the series, like how do you envision them winning it? What's the blueprint? And you've been talking about what they have to do, but how do you see this unfolding if the Knicks are to go on and pull this massive upset?
You got to blitz them tonight. You got to blitz them tonight. You got to absolutely just throw everything at the kitchen sink at them tonight. You're gonna have to just blitz them. You're gonna have to just show some competitive spirit and just throw everything at the wall and get to play tough. because this team, I think, is also a mental thing. I mean, the Knicks are definitely feeling something. They're 0-4 against them. They're kind of like, damn, this team, we need to beat them. I hate this team. They probably hate this team. I mean, it's the Celtics, of course, but they're 0-4 against them, and they have this this weight on their shoulders of that they can't beat this team. So I think that's going to be a thing. They're probably going to give some effort. Big. I think they're going to throw the first punch. I don't know how big the first punch will be in boxing terms. I don't know if it will be like a big time punch, but I think they're going to throw one to start the game because they're a team that's definitely has a chip on their shoulder. I know Boston does too, but I do think that the Knicks 0-4 against the Celtics, they're coming in with something to prove.
Yeah, so you think they must win tonight, or do you think get a split in Boston
hopefully
and then
hopefully
go
they win
from
on my
there?
birthday on Wednesday. Hopefully they win on my birthday on Wednesday. But I do think get one of those games in Boston. Certainly game one. Maybe the Celtics aren't settled in the series, maybe something like that. You win that first game, and then you can kind of. Now, I know I just said
the Knicks kind of got to do what the Pacers did to the Cavaliers yesterday, where they blitz them game one, get out ahead. Similar. Like I kind of think if the Knicks just get a split in Boston, well, then they're in good shape. But I kind of am with what you said. Like get ahead tonight. Like really, like make a statement tonight. Because if you lose tonight, then there's the pressure of game two, and you fall behind 0-2. Like I know it's 2 losses on the road. So you go home, and if you take care of business at home, well, then you're tied 2-2. You come back to Boston. But you fall behind 0-2, then you got to win 4 out of 5 to win the series. So you don't want to fall behind 0-2, even though the 2 games are on the road. So I don't know. Like I kind of feel like the Knicks' best chance to win in Boston is tonight. Like catch them, on their heels, or maybe just a little bit rusty like the Celtics ones. I can't remember the last day they played, but they had a little bit more time off than the Knicks. So maybe that's a factor. The Knicks had 3 days off, which is a decent rest.
Yeah,
so
decent
maybe like
rest.
tonight's just that night where the Knicks could be a little sharper. Maybe the Celtics a little off. They don't shoot well. Knicks defend well. Brunson has a huge game. Maybe Towns or one of the other guys, and you're able to get game one. So I thinking about it, like I kind of think that's what the Knicks have to do. Like you have to get out, pull up the upset tonight, get
the
Celtics a little bit concerned. Unless the Knicks, the Celtics going to be terrified they'll lose game one. I mean, it's one game, but you put pressure on them going into game two.
Well, I also think you have to insert yourself in this. You have to take some games. You have to insert yourself in the series. Right now, the Celtics don't care a lick about the Knicks. They think that they're a little. They think that they're nothing to them. I mean, of course, they probably have some respect for their opponent, of course, but they don't think that this team's good. They don't think this team's really, really good. They have to take a game. They have to prove themselves. They have to make the Celtics play. They're going to have to show it. They're going to have to win a game that really shows that they're here to play. Celtics aren't going to run over them. Right now, there's a lot of
so important because if the Knicks lose by a lot, well, then it's they can't hang with them. So that's obviously bad. But then if they lose close, it'll be a game where it was there for the taking. So you had an opportunity. So either way, if the Knicks lose by a lot or lose close, there's the sting of the loss. So it's look, if they lose tonight and then they win game two, then it's 1-1 going to the Garden, and you can say it just really doesn't matter. But I think
insert yourself in the series, throw the first punch, and make them try, make them bring their maximum effort. Because they're going to bring their maximum effort. That's actually not. But try to insert yourself in the series, like the Pistons and the Knicks. I mean, the Knicks probably thought, okay, we're the 3rd seed, we win 50 games. Pistons are kind of a young, inexperienced team, but they put their foot down. They're like, we're here. We're not going to lose a series. You're going to have to take the series from us. So Nick can do something like that. That'd be huge. Of saying that we're not gonna just like bow down to you. We're gonna really play tough, like the Pistons did the Knicks.
Yeah.
So, like a lot of teams have done, and just like inserting your first punch, I think is huge. I mean, Boston right now is just licking their chops. We're 0-4. We're at 4-0 against them. This team's nothing. We're I mean, not looking ahead. You want to beat the team in front of you, but we think this team's nothing. We're gonna sweep them. We're gonna move on. But Knicks gonna have to show themselves, be like, we have Jalen Brunson, and we're here to play. So Knicks have a chip on their shoulder tonight, and I hope they really come out and they bring that effort because I think they will. And not that doesn't mean go out to the huge lead. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I do think you have to bring that effort, play with them, compete with them, bring it to 5, maybe losing by 5 at the end of the with 5 minutes left in the game. Try to do something like that where you're keeping the score with about 5 minutes left in hand, so you can really give yourself a chance to close it out.
It's gonna be really interesting. I mean, this is the biggest Knicks playoff series in a quarter century. It's been a long time. I know they've been in the second round a few times in recent years, but it's been few and far between. I mean, this is the biggest Knicks playoff series since the year 2000. So
biggest for their whole entire franchise. This could shift their whole entire franchise. The thing is also they have a chip on their shoulder. If they get absolutely blitzed and stepped on, this team. I mean, I don't think this team's getting shaked up with the head coach. There's going to be some talk about the play. There's going to be some talk in the offseason. They don't get this. They don't get this done. They don't compete. And I want to win. I don't want to just compete. I want to win. So yeah. I mean, the Knicks want to win. They don't just want to compete. So they're going to really come out there and they're going to bring their effort, bring their A game. I think that's the biggest thing is, can you bring your A game? And if the Celtics do bring their A game back, maybe you just lose because they're a better team in that one game scenario. But you're going to try to bring your A game there and you're going to try to catch the Celtics off guard. If they're not playing their A game, maybe in other games where the Celtics played their B game in the playoffs and the Knicks still, and in the regular season, the Knicks still lost. Well, the Knicks are going to have to play their A game, and maybe they catch the Celtics off guard when they're trying to, when they're really playing with their food or not focusing on the challenge at hand or playing their B or C game. So Knicks can take advantage of that, then they're going to be pretty good shape.
Now, do you think the Knicks winning tonight would be a bigger upset than the Pacers winning last night? Same level upset? Less of an upset? So
bigger upset because I guess injury. No one's hurt. Darius Garland was hurt for the Cavs. That sounds like a terrible analysis take, but I do think no one's hurt. The Celtics are the team to beat in the East. And the Knicks are a team that hasn't even beat them. And now let's say, for example, the Knicks beat them tonight. Now the Knicks finally beat them, but it's in playoffs game 1. So it's like, what the hell? Like we could actually rethink about this. Are the Knicks actually a team that could be playing with them? Because maybe that 0-4 record's kind of screwed of like, do we really care about the regular season at the end of the day? Something like that. But I think right now the regular season does matter for the 0-4, and that is something that matters, and it's something in the back of their brain. That they are 0-4 against them in the regular season, and it's not even like it's close. So,
well, that was a big thing. The games were not competitive except for the last game. Last game went to overtime.
Which might be the game that kind of foreshadows it. Which might be a game that, because that's the closest we've got to the playoffs, and also, as I say, the Knicks were fully healthy during that game.
Yeah, again, it's gonna be fascinating. I mean, look, it just the entertainment value is really high. I mean, it's New York versus Boston. It's the Knicks versus Celtics. I don't know the last time the Knicks and Celtics played in the playoffs. It's been a long time.
And also,
actually, I think they played a first round series. What was that? Maybe like 2011 or 2012. But I mean, before that, I couldn't tell you the last time they played. So they haven't had a lot of meetings in recent years. So I mean, it's a big deal. It's the New York Knicks, the Boston Celtics, the rivalry between the two cities, the two franchises. So it's a very intriguing matchup. It's something that I think will draw a lot of interest, even for the casual fan. Obviously, the diehards are going to be really into this, but it's going to be exciting. I mean, it's got to be pumped up. I mean, and if you're a Knicks fan, certainly this is, again, the biggest playoff series in a quarter century. And, come game 3 on Saturday, the Garden is going to be rocking. There's nothing better than that. So, it's going to be fascinating to watch this all unfold and see where the Knicks are at. I mean, this is a huge barometer for them and measuring stick to see where they are in their progression. Working their way towards an NBA title. Doesn't seem like they're there yet, but they've been working towards that. The Knicks are obviously a very good team, but now they're trying to get to that elite level. So this series is an opportunity to do that. It's going to be really difficult, but let's see what happens on the court.
Yeah, and I do think one more thing I want to add in is that Knicks are going to have to. Knicks might not have. Knicks will not be able to rely on Jalen Brunson to save. I mean, they may have a game where he has 40 points, but it doesn't matter. Jalen Brunson has 40 points against the Celtics a lot of times, and they haven't won. So players have to step up. It's not going to be okay. It's all fun and games for the role players, whatever. Jalen Brunson's going to have 40 points. No, other players have to show up in this game, and we're going to have big chip in efforts from Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Karl-Anthony Towns consistently. Not even just one game there, one game here. No, consistently on the offensive end to give the
I
Knicks
think we're
even a
going to
shot.
be able to tell tonight where this series is going.
Yeah.
The Knicks win doesn't mean that they're going to win the series,
Well,
but
the Knicks are like this is the best you're going to get, I think, for the Knicks. They're
I think
gonna
they're blitz them tonight. I'm with what you said before. I think for the Knicks to win this series, they have to win tonight because you win tonight, it makes a statement. It gets the Celtics on their heels. Look, the Celtics are defending champions. They won 61 games this year. They're an elite team. So losing one game is not going to, make them unravel. But if the Knicks could go in there tonight and play their A game, their A-plus game, pull out a win, that's a statement. And it's like, all right, it's game on. We have a series. So I really think for the Knicks to win this series, they have to win tonight. I think they lose tonight. Again, like I said, if it's lose and they get beaten by a lot and they're just manhandled, then it's like, all right, they can't compete with the Celtics. If they lose close, it's really going to sting because that game was there for the taking. So I think either way, it's going to be it's going to be tough for the Knicks if they lose game one because then the Celtics they got themselves situated in the series and they got game two at home. So I think the Knicks, for them to have a chance in the series, it's blitz them tonight, make a statement tonight, like the Pacers did last night against the Cavaliers.
Yeah, make a statement. I know you did say, okay, we'll sting to lose close, but I think if you lose close and you put a message in the Celtics' head, I do think you're still 0-5 against them, but you put a message in their head that we're going to be here, you're not going to get stuff easy. Even if you will win, you're not going to get anything easy against us. So I think that maybe that mentality in their head, put that in their head. You still want to win every single game, but I think maybe
say it's one of those games where the Celtics are off from 3-point range and Brunson has a big game, say Towns or Bridges or whoever has a big game, and the Knicks are right there, and the Celtics are a bit off, and they don't capitalize, the Knicks don't win that game, and they lose a 2-point, 3-point, 4-point, 5-point game. It's like, man, like that's the kind of game you have to win. That's what I'm saying. Like either way, like if it's that type of game and they lose it close or they lose by a big margin, like I think losing by a big margin is worse because it's like, all right, you're just not competitive with the Celtics. But
yeah, this is like the
even
best
that close loss, it's like you gotta finish. Like you gotta win those games. It's just like with the Pistons against the Knicks, like the Pistons 3 games at home, and this game's on the road for the Knicks tonight, but those 3 games at home, razor thin, and they couldn't pull one of them out. So, again, just my hunch with it is like the Knicks, they gotta throw the first punch figuratively tonight and make that statement, put the Celtics a little bit on their heels and say, hey, it's game on. We're here to play.
Yeah.
You want to make a prediction for the series?
I'd say Knicks in 7 or
look at you.
No, I was gonna say fan. I want to do a fan one and a realistic one. That's what I was gonna do. I don't know why.
I'm gonna do a fan one and say Knicks in 4.
Oh yeah, Knicks in 4.
Do you one better.
I would. You know what would be good for fans from everywhere if we win in 7. That'd be the Knicks win in 7 because that would be a very good series for everyone to watch. That'd be peak basketball to watch. I don't really care. I think the Knicks in 4 would be fun too. But I think for everyone to watch.
Let's say if you're gonna make a fan pick, you might as well say you can sweep them.
Yeah, I think we're. But I do think fan with also realistic. I think the best the Knicks can do is win in 7. Realistic and fan put together Knicks in 7. Because I feel like it's going to be a long-term series, grind out series. When the Knicks kind of, Drew Holiday and Al Horford kind of have lower wear out. I don't know, but something like that. But my other thing is also Celtics should just win this in 5. I think. But my actual prediction here, like if you were to say, be an analyst, Celtics in 6. I think Knicks get 2 games, and the Knicks get 2. And the Knicks get game 3. Right. And the Knicks get game 5 too. I think they lose game 6 in the Garden. I think they steal one in
Boston.
TD Garden in game 5. And the Celtics miss an opportunity to close them out. Or I don't
I
know if
think
that's
the only way the Knicks could win, like you said, is in 7. That's gonna be so tough to win a game 7 in Boston. But the Knicks have the veteran players, and they have the defensive intensity and the coaching. Like they could be extremely tough. But the Knicks have a pedigree to be a team that could win a game 7 on the road.
and can
I mean,
also
it
win
would
tough.
be what's that?
And also can win tough. I do think Knicks have a pedigree with Tom Thibodeau teams that that's got to show out. You have to show something. Tom Thibodeau's going to have to put a stamp in a series. I think.
Yeah, I mean, there's some series where it's like, all right, you're not winning a game 7 on the road. Like if you were playing Jordan's Bulls or Kobe and Shaq's Lakers, and this, Duncan and Duncan's Spurs. There's other examples too. Like
I
you're not
do think the Celtics could be a little banged up. I don't want to. Sorry for interrupting, but I don't want to all the injuries. I know we don't like to talk about that, but I do think the Celtics could be banged up. I mean, Drew Holiday was dealing with the hamstring injury. Jalen Brown.
Injuries factor in. I mean, they're
and the Knicks are
major factor.
pretty healthy, and I think it's big. I mean, the Knicks are healthy for the first time in a long time, come playoff time, in second round.
Yes, I don't think Knicks in 7 is impossible, but I think that's the only. I can't see the Knicks winning in less than 7 games. I just I just can't see.
Yeah,
Celtics are too good, but I mean the Knicks in 7, like that fan's dream. I don't think it's impossible. But it would be a major upset if the Knicks defeated the Celtics. So
yeah.
I'm like
Biggest upset of a 2 versus 3 ever. I think this might be, I don't know, biggest 1 seed difference underdog ever. Kind of, I've never seen a 1 seed underdog be that. I get it. I'm not gonna. This is not a whole
the
thing.
Celtics are really,
yeah, but the Celtics are really good. But the Celtics shouldn't be the 2 seed.
Defending champs, and they're really more like the 1.
Yeah,
like they're better than the Cavs. I mean, the Cavs had a great regular season, but the Celtics, they won 61 games. They probably could have won more if they really wanted to. But look, they're the 2 seed, but they're the best team in the East. You could argue they're the best team in the NBA. I mean, the Thunder are really good.
Yeah.
But for the Knicks, it's like you're playing a number 1 seed, and you're playing you're playing an elite number 1 seed. It's not your typical.
You're playing defending champions that doesn't want to give it up.
It's not your typical 2-3 matchup.
Not typical, but
I'm torn on the prediction, Jack. Like I'm not going to say sweep. I think the Knicks will at least get a game.
Maybe because of bad shooting by the Celtics.
Going 6. Like I don't want to factor the first round in too much, but I think it is disappointing that the Knicks went 6 with Detroit, and it was such a close series, and the Knicks having to play an extra game. Like, how much of a factor is that? I mean, they got 3 days off, so they got a nice rest. But it would have been nice if they could have closed it out at the Garden in 5 games. But I'm not going to make too big a deal of that. And I'll give the Pistons credit for the way they competed in that series, and they're a team that's up and coming.
Well, they're a compete series. They're a big time compete team. They're a team that will get after you. Yeah, that's why I said when the Knicks were going to play a team like the Pistons, that could hurt them. They could still win, but I do think that they could win against all these potential 6 seed where we lift the Pacers and whatever Pacers. When we're talking about the potential 6 seeds, I think the Pistons were my least one, not because I said the Knicks could lose against them, but they were going to put something to them. And especially when you get in the second round against the Celtics, you want to be as restless as possible. So I do think 3 days rest is great, but I think the amount of contact that went on for 6 games that could wear on them.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the same prediction as you. Celtics in 6. I started out Celtics in 5 before the show, thinking about it and a prediction. I was like Celtics in 5. And I give the Knicks a game 3 at the Garden. But more I think about it, I'm going to give you how I see it unfolding. I think tonight the Knicks are going to come out and play well. I think they're going to give Boston a hell of a fight. But I see it being that close loss. Like, they could have taken the game. Like I respect the Knicks, what they've done enough to say, you know what, I think they're gonna come out game one, play well, be in the game, be in it at least till mid fourth quarter, maybe even later than that. And then I think because they lose game one in that fashion, game two, I think Boston adjusts. I think Boston, a little bit more, just a little bit more ready. Knicks get their attention.
Yeah, I think game two is going to be a game that the Celtics win either way, no matter how game one goes.
I agree. I think the Celtics are winning game two. That's why the Knicks
sadly it's on my birthday,
tonight.
so it's kind of.
But I'm going to say a close loss for the Knicks tonight. They lose game two. Knicks win game three at the Garden. Lose game four at the Garden. I'm with you. I think the series is going to go the way you said it. So Knicks will be down 3-1, going to Boston with game five. I think Knicks will be able to get one game on the road. Maybe Celtics a little bit off game five. They're, I don't know, like just psychologically a little overconfident, take the foot off the gas a little bit. Knicks are still competing because that's what they do. They win game five, but then they go to the Garden. Garden will be pumped up, but I just think the Celtics' talent and their depth takes over in game six, and they win game six in the Garden. Celtics in six, which I think for the Knicks will be a good showing. It'll be disappointing. Of course, you want to win, but I think going to 6 games with the Celtics this year is a good effort. No moral victories, but a good effort. And I think it's something the Knicks to say, hey, this is where we're at. We're not elite yet, but we're on our way.
It kind of gives you a standpoint of where the Knicks are at, but I think the biggest thing for them is I think if they really want to show themselves, they're going to, even if they don't win the series, winning one of these first 2 games is going to be big for them to show where they are. I do think if they win game 5, okay, whatever, but you could say that game's kind of like whatever.
Well, that's a good point. They'll show more. Absolutely. You're right, Jack. They win one of the first 2. That shows more. So if they go 6 with the Celtics and one of the wins is in these first 2 games,
if they're down 3-1
at Madison Square Garden, I'm with you. I think that shows more than game 5. Because to me, game 5 is that game where the home team takes the foot off the gas a little bit.
Or
maybe like the Knicks against Detroit in game 5 at the Garden.
Knicks got to be 2-2. Knicks got to be 2-2 in game 5 for me to really. If they lose the next 2 games, okay, the Celtics depth takes over for the next 2 games. But if you're 2-2, that means you won 2 games that are actually important. Like every game in the playoffs is important, but 2 games that are the Celtics really came out.
I'm with you. If they're 2-2 and they lose in 6, that shows more than being down 3-1 and winning game 5 at TD Garden and then losing in 6. I agree. But you know what, though? Even though I agree with that, if the Knicks take the Celtics to 6 games, I think they showed something. I think it's a step for them in the right direction. They get swept, it's a disaster. They lose in 5, it's not good enough. They go 6, they showed something. If they go 7, I mean, my goodness, it's just, they really showed something. So again, it's not impossible for them to win the series, but it would be a major upset. And we both agree the only way they're winning is if it goes 7. Knicks do have what it takes to win a game 7 on the road. Be really difficult, but not impossible. But man, you're a diehard. I used to be a diehard, but as Knicks fans, we hope that they could get this game won. I think they can. I think they're going to come. I don't think they're going to get blown out tonight. I think they're going to be competitive, but they got to get this one. Deliver that first punch figuratively. Put the Celtics on their heels, just like the Pacers did against the Cavs last night, and say, "Look, we're here to play."
Okay. So that's going to do it for this episode of Jack and Being Frank. We didn't get to all the other second round matches, but it doesn't matter because they will still be on.
All about the Knicks.
Yeah, all about the Knicks, man. All about the Knicks, and see if they can get it done in game 1. And you know what? I can't wait for them to get it done. So
did you sneak me into the Garden on Saturday afternoon? You know anybody?
I'll see what I can do. I'll see you. See you later, Jack and Being Frank. Peace out. Have a nice day.